what you get in the Book of Proverbs, you have two kinds of material for starters. The first 9 chapters consist of long wisdom instructions. These are long discursive material, where there are lectures, if you like. And then beginning in chapter 10, you have proverbs and sayings, the sayings sometimes being in the form of admonitions. But they're all one-liners or two-liners from Proverbs 10 on, until you get to the end of the book, and then you have another long discourse actually on the good woman in Proverbs chapter 31. We'll probably get to that next week. But what I want to look at for starters tonight is the material in Proverbs 10 to 30 or 10 to 29. This is the short sayings, which I take to be the older, the kind of substratum of the wisdom material. Now, what do you have in that? First thing I would say that you have is observation on experience. And as an example, I offer you Proverbs chapter 24, verses 30 and following. I passed by the field of one who was lazy, by the vineyard of a stupid person. And see, it was all overgrown with thorns, and the ground was covered with nettles, and its stone wall was broken down. Then I saw and considered it. I looked and received instruction. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed warrior. Now remember, all of this material is cast as instruction by a father to a son. And a lot of it, you can picture in that kind of a context. The advice fathers give their sons tends to be conservative, I would say. It tends to be cautious. It tends to err on the side of caution. It also tends to assume, that doing what I tell you is the way to success. And that's certainly the kind of tone that you get in this literature here. Now, sometimes these observations, of course, can be dubious enough. In principle, it all claims to be based on experience. In practice, usually, I would say, wisdom advice relies on tradition. We will see this actually, it becomes the source of drama in the book of Job, because Job's experience didn't mesh with what his friends, the wisdom teachers, thought it should be. And what they will say to Job is very typically, listen now, what have your fathers told you? What have people always said? Good people succeed. Do the right thing and you will prosper. And Job says, well, it isn't working for me. And that creates something of a crisis in the wisdom literature. Now, Koheleth, also the book of Ecclesiastes, which we'll do after Proverbs. One of the distinctive things in Koheleth is he decided to check things out for himself. This remains true to the present day. If you go with the shibboleths that are handed down on anything, you will come away with a very conservative view of the world. And then if you actually check it out and see, does this actually work? A lot of the time you'll find it doesn't, especially. And so that creates some of the drama in some of the later wisdom books. But I think in the Book of Proverbs, the reliability of tradition is not questioned. It is simply taken for granted.